Thanks for staying with us. We found a story online about a young lady who called the police on her Nigerian mother over a heated argument on their spiritual beliefs. In the video, she has said her mother had asked her for a photo of her to place at the altar, which she had blatantly refused, saying she doesn't want any part of that. Now, this resulted in her calling for police on her mother. Now, it's not African calling the police on your mother. What do you think about this? So the issue about this conversation is it's a multi-level conversation. So there's a part that your mother wants to pray for you. There are lots of mothers that do that, collect your photographs and go and give one pastor and here and there. And then she's like, she doesn't want any part of that. Secondly, she was, according to the video, she's a 25-year-old, an adult, had a kid, and she was trying to get out of her mother's house. So she wanted to leave. It's possible when she was living with the mother. And the mother we could hear the mother shouting and trying to say that, you need help, you need help. And she was saying that, I need to leave. So when the mother refused to allow her to leave, she called the police, and the police came in, obviously tried to get her to leave without any confrontation. But she eventually had to, I think, push or shove her mother away to get through the door. So the conversation is, especially as a mother or as a parent, parenting a child outside the country. So in Nigeria, the dynamics are a bit different, where your child can't even think about, attacking their parents in most cases, in many cases. But in this situation, this young girl, there are arguments that, okay, was she raised right? If she was raised right, was the mother right for trying to get an adult, restrict an adult from moving out of the house? Was there something she could have done better? And how do we raise our kids still abroad, but still have the values, the African culture and values? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-07641-679-09024163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag yourviewtvc so we can read your tweets. This story cuts really deep because there's so many layers, not just about that event. It's about how we choose to raise our children. I was taking a course with Praise for recently, and in all the grammar Praise said, the crux of it is that children need identity. If they don't have a core identity, they will never know who they are, and they will only act out based on their environment. So when your child knows you're an African, this is how we are, this is who we are, this is how we treat adults, this is how we, if they are raised in that culture. But many of us, when we travel abroad, we want to start imbibing, just to speak American, to look American, to act American. We suddenly try to raise foreign kids. So what do you think about how this girl was possibly raised? Or do you think she was raised right? She just made a choice that I want to leave. I mean, what are your own thoughts? Bisi, let me start with you.
There are several layers to it.
Yeah, there are.
So from the conversation or the altercation we saw online, it was a young lady who wanted out of the home, and then the mother was trying to hold her back by saying that she needed help. And she, in turn, was accusing the mother, too, of also needing help. Yeah. Right? I just see that they do not have a very good relationship. It could be a number of factors that may have caused that. And aside from the fact that they don't have a good relationship, sometimes when we are making decisions to travel outside the country, we always say it takes a village to raise a child. And that is how it works in Africa. But the dynamic is different abroad. You are basically on your own raising your child by yourself. Here you have an auntie that will come in, that will help you chastise the child when they're misbehaving. You have friends that will look into what is happening, give you one advice here and there. You have other extended family members who will also look into how you're raising the kids. I remember when my in-laws come around, or my mom and my father comes around, grandpa and grandma, they always pay attention to what's going on in the house. Why are you raising your voice at your sister like this? Why are you, we have that here. But when we make decisions to leave for economic reasons or all of that, we don't put into consideration the sort of village we are going to be meeting. Because at some point, it's not just what you say that influences the child. In fact, from teenage years, you have lost the child, as a matter of fact. It's outside influences. They pay more attention to outside influences than what you are saying. So the time you have to be grounded and tell them who they are is when they are still in their formative years. By the time they start having becoming teens and having peer pressure, you have basically lost most of your influence, right? And so when we go to that new environment, we see what is happening in that new environment. She's probably gone to school in that environment. She sees how other people talk to their parents. She knows that the laws can stand for her. That's a society where the laws can help a child say, I don't want to be a man again. I was born a boy, but right now I feel like I want to be a girl. And the laws, though, that would not allow you to drive or vote at a certain age would allow the child go the other way. Do you understand? So that is where she found herself. And so some of these influences will show up in what we are going to be seeing. So the idea now is, do we want to raise our children abroad?
Let's start unpacking all the various issues that happened in that video. I'm sure you've seen the video. Now, the woman, the mother, seemed to want to impose her religion, her beliefs on her child. She's insisting, according to reports we got from the video, she is trying to do stuff many mothers around here do, but her daughter wasn't having it. Do you think it's right for us parents to impose our religious beliefs on our children?
No, I don't think it's right. I will go from my own personal experience. When my daughter was growing up, she was a born-again Christian. She was so Christian that she put stickers all over the house, on her mirror, everywhere. I am not a Christian, but that was the path that she chose. So I left it. There was once she even went to a church. My cousin happened to go to church and saw her. She came on the stage for deliverance. We pushed her and she staggered. My cousin was so alarmed. She came, Jenny, do you know what I saw? I said, what did you say? I said, what do you want me to do? That's the way she wants to do her life. There's nothing I can do. I have chosen my own path. Let her choose her own path. She now went to England, joined when other children were going to nightclub and everywhere. My daughter was going to church every day. Church. I will even call her, say, brother, it's Friday night. What are you doing?
Vigil.
Church.
Vigil.
I would say, eh? She said, church. I was, okay, sorry. You know, there's fun out there. I'm going to church. Sorry. And I left her. And that's how she spent her whole all her years in university by going to church. It is by herself that her eye cleared.
What you say cleared? Cleared from what to what?
Why? It's by herself, because when she was going, I think she adopted this couple, and they were Christians in the church and everything. They were a white couple, you know, and she used to go to their house. And then she now started to notice racism in the church. Really? She went to another church. They put all black people to one side at the back. White people were in front. So, by herself. When her eye now cleared, it is me that started begging her that, no, still believe in God, please. So she now said, she's a scientist. She doesn't believe in God.
In anything again.
For real? It's gone far left.
She now went, I say, I beg.
Believe in something.
Please believe.
Let me come to Mariam. Mariam, what are your thoughts on this video?
Okay, so as you started, you know, you said there are different layers, but let me just start with the surface one for me, which is the age of the person, the child involved. So we're talking about a 25-year-old and also a mother, right? And also, from her accent, she's been raised abroad. So where we know that children from when they are 15, 16, even younger, they're already working. By 18, they're moving out, they're taking care of themselves. So they, you know, get this independence much earlier than a child that's been raised in Nigeria. And also the parenting style there is usually like from when you turn 16, you're allowed to start making some decisions for yourself. So I can imagine the complexity of raising a Nigerian child in that society.
Absolutely.
So that child, too, for the parent is tough, but for also the child, because the child will come home and your Nigerian mother is doing her Nigerianness, and you go out and you see your friends and their parents and how they're raising them is different. And you're even wondering that it's not necessarily that these children are bad children or it's bad parenting, you know? They're still turning out right. So sometimes you get that pushback. I personally, too, have thought about my mom. I felt my mom, you know, while we're growing up, especially when I got into my 20s, I thought she was a bit too, she was micromanaging everything, you know. I thought that there had to be a point where you would allow children to be, you know. You know, we had discussed one child that had come online and discussed her parents, and we called her out specifically also for her age. And I remember during that conversation, I said there have to be different tools for different ages and stages. When your child is a 25-year-old woman, it has to do a lot with giving advice, having a conversation. Please. It's toxic when it comes to back and forth. She's saying words at the mother is saying words at her. Because at that point, you cannot beat her. At that point, you cannot do anything other than speak with her. But you, too, as a parent, you can draw boundaries. These are the things I accept in my house, and these are the things I do not accept. If you're not going to be this sort of person or follow these rules in my house, I'm sorry, you may leave. And if the child says to you, and at that age, the independent adult woman who's your child can also have her boundaries. And that's where you see our African mothers, they pray. Our parents pray, because at that point, really, there isn't so much that you can do. So that's what I saw. I saw a Nigerian woman trying to be a Nigerian mother, where we control everything to sometimes the food you eat. You're a 30-something-year-old child. Is it this rice you put on your plate? Why did you not add? Like, I'm okay. No, you can't be okay. You know, we can be that way. It's love. We know where it's coming from. But when you're dealing with an adult child, you need to understand that now you may have to understand boundaries on both sides.
And let me go on a break.
Each other.
As I said, there's multiple layers in this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Stay with us. We're still discussing this matter, and I think, as I said, is multi-layered. So there's a part of, there's an assumption we can make, either for the fact that this young girl is probably still living in her mother's house. At 25, usually abroad, at 18, you're out of the house. 25, it's possible that your mother is supporting you somehow, because for you to be living with her at that age, either you got pregnant, you're not married, you had issues with jobs, and she's there supporting you. So the mother seems like somebody who has actually sacrificed a lot for this child to be where she is today. And because I am making the sacrifices, I feel like I have some kind of control. I should have some kind of say in what you're doing. I should say, you will go to church. Because I remember when I moved back home, my mother, I was coming from the US with a very, very backsliding girl. I came back, my mother was insisting, Friday we're going to camp. Sunday we're going to church. Initially I was like, please, I'm not going to camp again, I beg. But I was 20, when did I move? 23, 24. She said, we'll go to first Sunday, first Friday we're going to camp. Every Sunday we're at church. Tuesday service we are there. Wednesday service we are there. She will carry me like handbag. I'm an adult. But as a Nigerian girl, I followed. You know, but compared to now, you can't take a child like that abroad and insisting that she follows you to vigil, first early morning service. Even 5:30 a.m. that early morning one. I'll follow her to early morning service.
As a Nigerian obedient girl, yes, because
so how do we, as mothers who are probably relocating, especially people like this, how do you raise a child with our own values, but still don't control, because we can't continue to do the same thing, expect a different result?
So, Morayo, it's not just about raising the child with values. We need to understand that some of the toxicity children face here is not, they're not able to question it because of how society will perceive you. Yeah. So we internalize it and just hope that one day one man will come and marry us away from this woman so that we are, saved, and we're not able to express.
Yeah.
So I've seen homes here where the parents are really, really toxic on the children, but because of how the culture is, who do you run to? They'll say, is your mother, go back to your father's house, go back to your mother's house. You must obey, till you leave the house. And we see now it's even changing, because I know people who have run away from, their parents' houses to go find somewhere else to stay. Even in Nigeria, this is not abroad though. It's just that the times are changing, and younger adults are not willing to take what some of us took in the name of being obedient, right?
Yeah.
So the typical African parent wants a child who will take everything they say without questioning, without asking without saying no, without asking why, without having their own. Once, for you to be labeled a good child is because everything mommy and daddy says, you do it without questioning. And the ones that we call the black sheep are the children who will question, why am I going to vigil every night? I want to sleep. I want to work. I want to sleep. I want to have another life. I want to hang out with my friends. You are the bad child, right? That's how we define raising children here. In fact, there was a conversation I was having recently with somebody. So they came visiting, and they saw how my kids will question me, will argue, will be arguing, will be bringing dictionary to argue and all of that. I was like, you're very lenient on your children. And in my head, I'm very tough on the children. I'm just learning to stop beating, as a matter of fact, right? But I now understand that my children are asking a lot of questions, and they're growing. And so I should be able to engage them. And I'm stylishly happy in my mind that they are asking those questions because I know that tomorrow nobody will cheat them outside. But she didn't see it that way. She felt like I was too lenient on the children. You're allowing them challenge you. You are bringing dictionary to be arguing with your son. What kind of thing is that, right? Because where she was coming from, you would dare not say a word back to mommy or to daddy. So we need to now start redefining how we are looking at these young adults who have a mind of their own. They should be able to make some decisions for themselves.
Okay, we lost that call. Let me come to you, Mariam.
Oh, and I rushed what I was saying.
So, the second layer for me now would be about parenting, regardless of where you are. And I've heard this, many times at this table when we've brought experts, and the importance of creating a family identity. I think someone mentioned it. A family rule, a family motto, These are the things that happen in the Longe family. We are the Longes, and this is what we do. We are first Christians. We go to church on Sundays, things like that. And we know that while you are in this house as an adult and as a child, these are the rules. In fact, when visitors come to stay over in your house, they understand the rules that apply in the house. In this house, we respect elders. In this house, we don't talk back at elders. When we are grieved or when an elder has done something to us, we take out time when the atmosphere is a lot calmer and we have a conversation. So you know how it works in the house. So if you carry this Longe family and put it in Russia, that is what will happen. So when you go outside, whatever you do outside, when you come back into the house, this is how it works. So I feel that's the way that people who are traveling abroad should sort themselves out. Don't be too much lenient in allowing them imbibe things that you're uncomfortable with. Now, when they reach a certain age where they can leave your house and rent their homes and work and earn money, you have to understand that you're dealing with a different adult child right now. This is an adult that will make their decisions. But they know that the moment they cross your doorstep, they will apply the rules that apply in your home. There will definitely be times that you will clash, but understand that that's an adult you're dealing with.
Let me take Kazim. Good morning, Kazim. You're live. Thanks for calling. Hello, Kazim. I'm so sorry again. Go ahead, YK.
I was going to say, the way we bring up our children and the way the American way it's like this. It's like, so how are you going to not, because when they go out with their peers, they will imbibe that way. How are you going to keep them grounded? That's your Nigerian way. When they come back home.
I'll answer that question with what you just said. But let me. There's a point I wanted to make.
Culture.
If we have if somebody was saying that if Nigerians here have the kind of access the American child has, where you can call 911. Do you know how many people would have called 911 on their parents in this country? That would be assuming, because we don't have that in Nigeria. It's the children abroad that are worse off because they are the ones that can just call police. But here, imagine if we had that access. You know how many 911s we calling?
You'll be shocked.
Parents want to be pouring hot water. So parents are pouring hot water on their children.
Telling using razor blade because you ate meat.
They have called 911 in this country.
I say as well.
Has Chief Odunto ever told you the story of his son?
No.
Does he want
I don't know if it was on
about
national television.
Well, he has told the story. I have to define to my hearing.
And did he say
Did he say he should tell us?
He brought his son home. The son said
Is this Nigeria?
And he tried to go back. When he now went back, he didn't tell his father. They just did as if put a cushion. The father had gone to Abuja.
He went back.
His friend sent him tickets. He put his shoes outside the door. Like he was. He was calling the airport. Stop!
Let me take this call with Mr. Debola. Thanks, Mr. Debola. You're live.
Yes, good morning. Well done, lady. Yeah, you see, it's unfortunate that we are discussing this type of thing now that I feel we are kind of going back to our African in some facets, especially in the history. We are trying to go back to our roots. So I feel that if we are going back to our roots through entertainment, trying to kind of give our children kind of a show of this is what we are. I think we shouldn't limit it to what lip service, doing it in entertainment only. We should actually let it go down, truly into the roots, to the homes. Because we are really lost our values. I must tell you the truth. We've lost our values in the first instance, African. And it is your tradition also to protect your life as an entity.
The line is not very clear, Debola. Yeah. So let's go back to what YK was saying. Yes.
I was going to say, in the same America, you would hear people say, oh, this person is country, or this is from the South. These ones, they show more respect. They go ma'am and things like that. It's in the same America that people call their great aunts by their names. You know, so it's culture and what you have defined as your identity. In the same America, we have people who go to church. In fact, all the gospel songs that we sing here, they sing it better than us in those American churches. Or in both people singing and dancing, as in they go to church. You know, it's not because the way we here in Nigeria say, they don't go to church, but they have a group of people that do that. So you define. So as a parent, it's not enough to just give birth to a child. You need to also define who you are and what your family is and what it stands for.
When we come back, we'll dig further into this angle. I really want to spend some time on this question. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.